Aha! We back. Does it look better? Yeah, I think we're all right. Okay. So, day 2, session 2, looking at um, trying to get enough gold so that we can jump into another jump in and that we can use those cards to drive forward um, some more decks that we want to build, and then we can compete on things that are a little different. So we have 300 gold. If we can just get those white and black spells up to another 14 of them, should just take a couple of games, most likely, we can get there. So far today, I'm not sure if we've taken a loss this morning, but we've gotten our 5 wins, and there are still 10 more that are available for some goodies. And the new deck is starting to get closer. 2 hours and 37 minutes, we should be able to do something like that. So I'm looking forward to that too. Let's go right into a standard play. And we're going to use our white and black deck because our goal here is to just cast some white and black cards. It's possible that we don't win. I forgot to take the Pilfer out of the deck. Oops. Should be okay, but turn 2 Pilfer, not always the strongest of plays. Turn 4 Ravenous Necrogen. Kind of is. Let's see what you're up to, Mr. Molten Cheese. My man has got himself a Thirst for Discovery, 3 lands, and a Clear Cutter. This is eventually going to be a problem, but it's way down the road. So I think we just get rid of the Clear Cutter, just to make sure he doesn't have much beyond the Hypnotic Rifter until very late in the game, unless he draws, right? So, would be good to throw 2 things out right now, and I kind of like the idea of throwing just this guy. Since the only thing in our graveyard is our Pilfer and our Frontliner. And so we're kind of setting ourselves up for an attack on the next run. More importantly, if we can draw a land, we've gotten ourselves some bodies that will help us. Alright, so he spends his 3 mana to pump his guy up a 1/1. And, I mean, I'm just not so sure I love that play. Now, we're going to attack. We're going to plus up the Phyrexian Missionary, and he's not going to block that. He's going to have the Hypnotic Rifter block our Yoshian Frontliner. That's going to kill our Yoshian Frontliner, and what we want to do is get the most amount of value out of that. So we're going to preemptively throw a Vran, Executioner Thrain. We click next, we go all attack, toss it over there, and it's pretty clear what he needs to do. We gather some life, we gather some more life, he loses some more life. And overall, just a relatively good turn, right? 10, we were even, now I'm up by 10, and I've got my Undead Butler. And we did throw some things in the graveyard, but unfortunately, none of them were creatures. We killed this guy and put him in the graveyard ourselves. Memory Deluge is good. My man is trying to control as much as he can. I think he might have jumped the gun by doing the Hypnotic Rifter early. Toss this guy out there. Of course, we're not corrupted, but we can kill our Undead Butler, which is no big deal. When it goes in, you can return a target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. We say, yes, let's do that. And, well, I think we just took the Frontliner because it was the only one, right? I'd love to do the attack situation, but all it's going to do is give us, like, it'll hurt him for 2 and give us 4 life, which is good. Is it possible that he has a removal spell, though, that would make this a lot easier for me if I just wait a turn? So I'm going to say no attacks. I'm going to hope that in all of these thirsting for discoveries, he manas himself out of an answer here, and I can get a free attack. My man Sifting, I gotta think that this is some kind of flicker with all of these up here. That he's just flicking things back and forth, right? So we'll click next, we'll go all attack, bring back the Vran, and say 2. And yeah, I realize he can just block that. That's okay. All we do is heal me, hurt him, throw our frontliner out, throw this out, and say, your turn, opponent. So we're certainly threatening lethal. He'll have to block the Ravenous Necro Titan, and that's why the additional +1/+1 that we're going to utilize here is going to end up going most likely to the Phyrexian Missionary. Most likely. I could put it on the Harvester, but the Harvester is going to die no matter what. So the Harvester takes out one of the two of them, and then it dies. The Vran is super useful as a not so dead. Okay, so we're going to lose some players this one. So we're going to throw the Vat of Rebirth out on the early slide of things, just on the off chance that this man's 1 mana is enough. Assuming that he chump blocks the 2 biggest threats that I've got, he'll block this and it'll die, and he'll block this and it'll die. So I'm going to toss my Yoshian frontliners plus over to someone that I think is going to get through. So let's see what he does. Let's see what he does. He just blocks the 2 and ends up taking 4 total damage. One of my creatures dies, bringing it to 6 total damage. So he'll still be alive. He won't have any characters left. Not going to be alive now. He forgot about the death threat. Game over. You forgot about the Vran. And we won our first game. We were in control pretty much the whole time. We stayed on curve. We were able to go from, I think we were in the 16 range to the 22. The game didn't go really as long as we wanted it to, as far as getting that goes. But we got our win. We got our 50 extra gold. And we moved the needle just ever so slightly. Just 25 little bits. And we're going to do it again. Vran's Braids. Starting to dig this deck. I kind of feel like it gets to those early threats early enough to that they actually like mess with the game. Not a lot to sacrifice, but a relatively decent curve here. Whenever you get the mana to do something for the first move, or 2, or maybe even 3, you probably want to keep that. There's just not a lot of chances that you're going to curve out perfect like that all the time. We are looking for a Yoshian frontliner, Phyrexian Missionary, maybe a Necrogen Communion, and then I can attack with the Vran. Cult Conscript, quite a bit of stuff here. Definitely don't like you. You are out of here. We are all attacking. This is another one of these human citizen go wide strats where between the Venom Connoisseur, there's going to be a black and white guy who comes down that every time that you attack you make a +1, and then there's like an Adeline, and we have definitely struggled against the Adeline, but we'd be staring at each other for a long time if I left the Venom Connoisseur up. Every time the Venom Connoisseur attacks, as long as I think something comes in, this is the second time. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, it gains Death Touch. And so you're constantly like fighting off the Death Toucher. Ah, there's the guy who makes the tokens. Pretty on sketch here. I know it makes no sense, but I would much rather not have this token engine coming at me, and I would happily trade the Vran away. He's going to think about it because it's my kind of like value engine that's in here, And so it's either trade value engines or run at the value engines kind of deal. Whenever another creature you control is put in the graveyard. It is a big move here. He doesn't hold much hope for setting up his engines if he chooses to take the trade. If he chooses not to take the trade, he's signaling that I'm going to get free look to doing some damage. And he's not just paying attention to the Vran. I threw the Necrosquito out earlier on the attack to really try to convince him not to take the trade. I'm sorry, to take the trade, because what that does is it forces him to recognize that, shoot, if I don't do that again, I'm going to end up losing the token that I'm about to create and taking the 2 damage on top. And it's just going to kind of be an endless cycle of that, and I'm going to die otherwise. So we're negating his capability of just kind of flashing in and getting things done. I would really like to throw my Braids because she's a 3/3, and being a 3/3 gives you an opportunity to block the 2/2 without any concern. So we know what our next move is going to be. Our mana played out just about perfect. And I think we might be getting roped. So Torrens, Fist of the Angels, Venom Connoisseur. These are definitely annoying decks to play against. Just missed a turn. Well, we might as well, right? Let's go. I think we're getting roped out. Tator Tots. I like your name, Tater Tots. I do. I really, really do. We're going to go just a little bit like that. I think that works. We are definitely getting roped out. We got to cast 1, 2, 3, 4. That puts us at 26. We're still going to need 4 more. Stacking up the wins. Woohoo! Timeout. Gone. We're going to assume that he has kids and had to take them to school. What do we get? A mech hanger? What? Go away. Go away. Add a mana of any color and spend this only to cast a pilot or a vehicle spell, and a target vehicle becomes an artifact creature. So, for 3 mana, you self... Heck yeah. There is some amazing artifact deck that works with the vehicles. I've just never created it. Alright, Miss Braids. One more game, and then it's time to expand the library. We got a Vran. We got a Murder. We got a Yoshian Frontliner. I use something called Untapped GG, and it overlooks and gives you your heads up, like on what you're incoming. This is perfect, though. We're keeping this for sure. Snap keep. Nothing until turn 3. Hoping maybe I can grab ourselves another black pip for our Murder. We're going to attack in. This guy's going to say, like, what? What? I just got done talking about all the different vehicles, and a Hotshot Mechanic shows its face right off the bat, which can crew up to 4 with just a single white pip. Expect to see maybe something like a Bank Buster come out over here on turn 2. No, not a Bank Buster. There. Let's go kill some people. Yeah. you got? Okay, so we're just kind of attacking in the wind right now. I would trade my Yoshian Frontliner down here for either one of these. These are my expendable trigger brands kinds of stuff. And now that the brand's gone, they don't serve a purpose. I'd still attack them both. I'll just probably use the murder on something. Oh, excellent. Excellent, 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 excellent. Let's go. I think we just give this one flying, right? Okay, half of our Vat of Rebirths are done, and it's just going to take us one more pip to get number 3 done, and then we can work on number 4 when we get another murder engine set up. Oh yeah, he gets one for getting rid of things out of the... If he exiled something and there's nothing in my graveyard, I'm confused. So he still can't attack, but I can shoot the frontliner over the top. I can just murder the Sash, which seems like the better answer. I can murder the Sash, throw the frontliner out, have them all attack, have the frontliner disappear, trigger the Vat of Rebirth, and move on. Yeah. Yeah, I knew that was coming. I have a lot of life gain. If you attack, you're not gonna like what happens. No. Very interesting. Alright, so we click next. We're going to give ourselves lifelink. We're going to all attack and throw the extra onesies on there. In they go for 5. I go up 5, I'm back at 20. The opponent's down to 8, and his only board presence is gone. Your turn. Well, there's not much use for the Vat of Rebirth now. So, hello. No other creatures. Should I pilfer him? Yeah. We might be able to get rid of a removal spell. Yeah. We got rid of a removal spell. Target creature you control gets +1, or I lose a creature. I'd much rather not lose the creature. Love the idea of going with the, the lifelink up here. And then we say all attack. Stick it on that. And we're going to lose our frontliner. It's going to set off our trigger. And we're up to 25 life. The opponent's down to 2. We know he's got the +1/+1. Good game. He knows what's up. our little deck does a good job at doing what it's supposed to do. Just going to point that out. 500 XP. I wish I could get rid of this dumb little girl, but I got this 2 hours left to her, unfortunately. At least I got her sound turned off, which is good. We got our 750. We're over 1,000. You guys know what time it is. I know what time it is. It's our favorite time. It's jump-in time. Why are jump-ins so much fun? I don't really think they are. It's the results. It's what we get. Like, what's really fun is essentially playing a brand new account as if it was like a sealed account. Every time that we grab more cards, we suddenly think about our deck possibilities. We go back in and look at our collection with a fresh eye and go, oh my gosh, we got a red deck, or oh my gosh, we've got a sacrifice deck, a woodsy artifact deck. You know, these are not things that I've ever built before, but I'm happy to build these. I've built a wolves deck before, and it's the worst one we've got out of all of this stuff. And so I just totally dig like coming in from that outside angle, having a very limited amount of resources and figuring out ways to utilize those resources in the most prolific way possible. All good stuff. So let's go to our jump-in event. Just double checking everything. We last time got our squee, which helped us make our red deck, which is going to help us climb through the ranked ladder when we start to make that kind of our go-to spot. I think that we probably could do that right now. Honestly, the red deck performs really cleanly, really consistently. But so far, so does the sacrifice deck. So I don't know. Anyway, going to the jump-in. We're going to resign because we've already got our win. And we've already got our check mark on our card. So everything looks good there. So we resign. And we immediately spend our 1,000 gold. Because think about this for a second. Just walk with me. If you go to get packs, you can spend 1,000 gold and buy a brand new Phyrexia All Will Be One pack. You're going to get a rare card or a mythic out of it. You can get more mythic chances, like higher mythic chances if you go over here, but let's just stick with this for now. So, one rare card. You will get 1/10 of a golden pack. And inside a golden pack, there are 6 rares, each with their normal like chance to go up to mythics. 4 of those rares are going to be from the Phyrexia All Will Be One, which is the current set, and 2 of those rares are going to be for some of these older standard sets that are still available, with, I think, Innistrad being the next one to disappear. So, you know, you're going to get the least amount of usage on cards that are from the Innistrad set. You are going to get the most amount of usage from cards that are in the Brothers' War, Phyrexia, Dominaria, and Baldur's Gate. And so that's just something to keep in the back of your mind a little bit as you decide where to spend your gold. When we jump into the jump-in event, we don't really have a lot of choices over where our cards come from. But when we look at these jump-in pieces, and again, we're going straight to MTG Fandom, their little wiki page that they've got for jump-ins, in order to see what are the payoffs. Because this has got to be what, like our 8th or 9th jump-in pack. I'm starting to get familiar with them, and I remember the oily one is pretty good. The oily one comes with the Urbask Forge, which or an All Will Be One. I really wish All Will Be One was a little cheaper. I kind of like that card. In my other account, I was able to utilize that in a red ramp deck that just did nothing but create treasure tokens. So I was able to cast that thing on like turn 3 a lot of times. And then here comes, the Koth, and here comes the things with counters on them that really drive the number forward. Other than that, I haven't really found a place that I like it. I know in maybe a Mind Spliced control-y kind of deck, All Will Be One really shows up as like a great way to throw some damage, but not us. We're nowhere near controlling. We're nowhere near Planeswalker decks. Like these are concepts that are just not available for us, right? So coming back to these super bright lights over here, I'll try to move them behind us a little bit. Oily, we already know is good. Warlock is The Hourglass Coven and an Ancient Brass Dragon. Self-mill and reanimation. I I have a hard time making these decks work. I just don't think that going into the graveyard um, before you even get a chance to cast it, it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't to me pay off quite as much. And then Bewitching. I have not seen a Bewitching in a long time. Bewitching is going to carry with it Soul Transfer, one of the greatest. Okay, so what Soul Transfer does, it says if you control an artifact and an enchantment, as you cast this spell, you can get a chance to choose both. Exile a target creature or planeswalker, and return a target creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard back into your hand. There's a lot of synergy that gets involved with our other deck. Um, our Vran deck right here. But one of the things you want to check out, because they want both enchantments and artifacts, and we can just do a quick search when we pull up our deck to see what enchantments we've got. We've got 1 enchantment, 2, and 3, and this one's a short-term enchantment, and so is this one to a certain extent. So not terrible. And if we go to artifact, we've got a lot of artifacts, right? I don't think this one counts as an artifact, or this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 artifacts. So Soul Transfer could be, it could be our guy. I am not a fan of chasing down an older style when a new one of strength exists. And the thing about Bewitching is I have a tendency to believe that most of these cards that they're going to give us aren't going to be extremely useful because they're going to be aged, like aged series, they're going to be a year and a half old, and the commons and the uncommons continually have to kind of move up a little bit as far as power creep is concerned in order to make them more relevant, more useful, and get played more during the season that they appear in. Once a season falls off and goes out into like historic, then you can kind of see a little bit of a reset, and we'll start to see that power creep come down a little. But right now, there's no doubt that the commons and uncommons in Phyrexia All Will Be One are a lot stronger than the kinds of stuff that I get when I go back to some of the older decks. So I'm going to pick Oily in hopes of building some newer, fun, oily kinds of decks that are out there. We've got Complete, which we've seen a few times, and Incomplete is the Wellspring or a possible Elish Norn. Elish Norn gotta be the most disappointing card. I like that card. On paper, I look at it and go, it's gotta be perfect, man. And then I tried it. It just doesn't work. It works with ETBs, and it's just like the ETBs, unless you're playing a Soldier's deck, don't exist. And if you're playing a Soldier's deck, you're probably not looking to cast 4 and 5 mana kinds of things. You're staying lower to the ground. So I don't know. The other half of Complete, though, is again the same kind of strategy. You're looking at the Phyrexian common and uncommon cards. They're some of the strongest cards in the deck. And there's nothing wrong, by the way, with the Skrelv's Hive. I would really take the Skrelv's Hive. Enchantments are super fun. We would get a Weaver of Harmony, which means other enchantment creatures you control get a +1/+1. He's just a bear, a 2-mana bear that gives out a bunch of +1s to everybody. You really can't go wrong with a Snake Druid. That's pretty amazing. Kami of Transience is another rare, so it's also likely. She's also a bear. Whenever you cast an enchantments creature, you get a +1 on her. And then at the beginning of each end step, if an enchantment was put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you can return the Kami of Transience from your graveyard to your hand. This entire series would be great with the artifact deck. And the reason being is enchantments and artifacts, can work together. Mono green is going to really hold some of the most powerful enchantment creatures, especially the low level enchantment creatures that will really help us kind of control board states in the middle of the game a lot and allow us to kind of ramp up a lot easier. Other enchantment creatures that I think I like are like the Gala Greeters, which is a rare and it's not in this pack. Um, but this thing right here, this Generous Visitor, really pretty good. And then finally Muscle. If we look over here at Muscle, we have the Guardian of the New Benalia, a go wide and raising creature's power enlister who can make herself suddenly become invulnerable. I have really, really enjoyed using the Guardian of New Benalia. It's not a new kind of mechanic, and it's not a mechanic that people don't know what to do with for the most part. This would be the weakest pick for the rare, but maybe the one that moves our individual green deck the most forward. Just because I can imagine there's probably 3 or 4 cards in here that are going to really be better than the 2 drops and 3 drops that we've got. Certainly this Generous Visitor right off the bat would be an amazing 1 drop to add to that equation. I'm not going to jump over for a Baird or a Guardian. So it's this one or this one. And it really kind of comes down to what are we trying to create? Are we trying to create a white deck ever? Maybe a white toxic deck would start to look pretty good under this. There really isn't a lot of proliferate, and there isn't a lot of synergy between the white deck and the oil red deck. They're kind of like these two synergize on equipment more than they do on artifacts or oil or proliferation or any of those kinds of things. Similarly, enchantments along with oily kinds of cards, not that exciting either. So I think I'm gonna go with one of these two still. I still haven't figured it out. I'm gonna change my battery while you guys figure it out. And we're black, and we're back, and we're not black, but we are back. And here's complete. And I just keep staring at this Annex Sentry, thinking, "You're so strong. You're so big. You're so strong. You're such a big girl, boy. Who knows? But you're so strong. We're taking you." What do we get? We got Ossification, a remarkably good removal spell. We got the Norm's Wellspring, which isn't the strong one, but we did get the Jawbone Duelist, one of the most important new cards in the 2-drop slot. I'm very, very happy about that. And an Incisor Glider can be very, very useful, especially in an artifact deck. It's a good flyer, good blocker. If you're going to do things like the Jawbone Duelist, this thing can start becoming a board pumper. Always been a big fan. We did get a Churning Reservoir to go along with a Forge. There it is, the Urbask Forge. Gotta love the Urbask Forge. Works really, really well with things like the Proliferate feature here. The Magmatic Sprinter. This card, to me, looked like the worst card I've ever seen. And yet, it it turns out it's so good with things like the Forge. I mean, think of it like this. Imagine if you could throw um, 2 damage every turn, an extra 2 damage every turn on a trample creature, and all it did was cost you 3 mana one time. And on the time that you did it, the 3 mana the one time, you still got to also attack with a blitz creature for 3. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is, you Magmatic Sprinter, let's say your Forge is already out. Your Magmatic Sprinter, you spend 3 mana, she jumps out there, she tosses her 2 oil counters onto the Forge. The Forge is now making creatures 2 toughness, or not toughness, but 2 power greater every single turn for the rest of the game. Okay? Now the Magmatic Sprinter attacks and dies. Oh no. But the 3 damage gets utilized in such a way that, like, let's say she trades with a guy. Her 2 oil counters continue to survive her and keep going. If she attacks and doesn't get blocked, she comes back and then she does it again next turn. It seems like a mana sink that wouldn't be good, except what are you running towards? An Indoctrined Intendant? A Porcelain Zealot? Like, none of this stuff up here at the top of your curve is so earth-shattering that it's going to win you, except for maybe this. The Furnace Strider is so good. So good. So, Flensing Raptor, Toxic Guy throws a person over. Charge of Might's kind of a clunky removal spell. It really requires you to already be pretty wide. Would go good with something like a Skrelb's Hive, not a Norn's Wellspring, but nothing wrong with it. And it's kind of funny. I don't mind the Norn's Wellspring. Whenever a creature dies, you get to scry 1 and put an oil counter on it. And then you get to remove 2 oil counters for 1 mana and draw a card. This card is going to go so well with our white-black deck. Like, so well. I know it's not an enchantment, and unfortunately what we were hoping for was to expand some enchantments out in that deck in order to make something like Soul Transfer useful. We didn't pick up the Soul Transfer, though. These 2 cards are the only 2 that I think are probably not going to be extremely useful. And I don't see, Axiom Engraver is going to have an oil counter on it. And then I'm going to be requiring my Churning Reservoir to toss oil counters onto things like the Crackler, the Slinger, the Fuseling. In order for things like the Anointer to actually be useful. Shoot, I'll toss them onto the Jawbone Duelist, the Crawling Choruses, and whatever the case is. But this Urabrask Anointer is very hit or miss on there. So I am not leaning on that. I would suspect that we just walk in here and win this, though. Mostly because I know how to use these cards, and I know how to use them together pretty well. Like, without overthinking what the next move is going to be or how's this going to play out kind of deal. I definitely like the idea of adding that Wellspring artifact instead of maybe a Vat of Rebirth. As much as the Vat of Rebirth should be good, it's so slow that, and we just don't have anything like, we're having to do it on the natural side. I don't think so. But the ring. Okay, we got a 2-drop. We got a 1-drop little trick, another 2-drop, and we got our deal. We don't have our main engines, but we're okay. We throw our tap land down first in hopes that, missing a 1-drop doesn't become kind of an issue for what we're looking for. Next, we're going to definitely toss the Jawbone Duelist out. Yeah. And then what that's going to do is put some pressure on him to come up with a way to block this thing. We're going to use the Free from Flesh trick, so to speak. Yeah. We're going to use the trick. And then we'll toss out our chorus. Alright, so if he doesn't have a block here, we can corrupt him. There wouldn't be a ton of reasons to throw the Sprinter out, except it's a hasty guarantee to get us 3 damage. kind of deal in. I like the play. So the reason he does that is because he got burned on a trick on the last one, and he doesn't want to get burned again. So I kind of like hustled him over into that in order to protect the Magmatic Sprinter. Just getting the 3 damage seemed like it was worth it. I do think that an Axiom Engraver blocks the Vineshaper Prodigy. The Vineshaper Prodigy by itself is not the best card, but the domain situation here got out of hand very, very quickly. You're not an artifact or anything, and I don't have a removal spell pulled up right now. Attacking into that would be semi-suicidal, so we're going to toss you. And not much I can do there. We're going to toss you. He does not have any artifacts, so we're going to say decline. We're going to say nope. And he knows our hand now, right? Because he's already seen our Magmatic Sprinter, so he knows what's up. He can kind of get a sense that we're trying to go wide and get around him. And if that's the case, his best answer here is to not attack. Should he choose to attack, I would be happy to give up. Do like a triple block on the beast. Lose 2 of my little 2-drops. What did he spend on the beast to make that happen? He spent 4. It's kind of the same thing. Yeah, we're in trouble now. We really need that ossification. What do you think? Triple block? Yeah. Game on. That's a bad play, but this is ending the game for us right now. I have to chump block this thing and hope that I can get that removal spell. As far as removal is concerned, Annex Sentry is only going to take something with mana value 3 or less, and this guy's mana value is 5, so that's just not going to work. Ossification would work, and that's about it. So we have to chump block, unfortunately, and we have to really hope for ossification. See. I'm just going to keep chump blocking guys out until we find our card. He can cast another guy. I've been syncopated. Alright, so our chances for an ossification are 4%. About 1 out of 25-ish. Yeah, we knew that was coming. You're a blocker. They're going to take 6 here. And still begging for an ossification. These are cool. Like a guy from Star Wars, whatever that guy's name is, the robot guy. Okay. Ossification. Yay! Just sitting there doing nothing. I mean, it's down to this. It's either ossify this or it's game over. Because he's going to do 8 more damage, and that puts him at lethal. And even with the ossification, I don't have the card to come back. So we're going to go with it. It's over. Just couldn't get the removal spell we needed. And he got big real quick. Real quick. Good on him. He did good things with his deck. Please watch this Loom recording about the support ticket you shared. Oh, cool. Thank you. Okay. Next. Toxic King versus DJ Scoops. We got a 1-drop. We got multiple 2-drops. We don't have the mana for either. Ah, shoot. I shouldn't have kept. I had a free mulligan available. That's okay. Okay, we're off. As much fun as putting out those are. Throw a 2-drop and nobody will know. Different. Probably keep the Crawling Chorus because it's just a nice little add-on. But we're going to use the Axiom Engraver and cycle. Well, there's a world where I can see a Volt Charge paying off. This is it. Get out of here. Submit. Next attack. If I hadn't used all the mana, I would have definitely used the Axiom Engraver to try to draw the white mana. We haven't gotten one yet. We have 15 out of 18 still available, with, I would say, 7 of them or so up there. Cackler, if it was a 3/2, would be all the world of difference. I know it attacks, it'll become a 3/3. I won't be able to use it unless I'm attacking. But if I'm attacking, I will be able to use it. Let's go. We won't be attacking this turn. We will be removing, let's say, a glider, since they're going to have stuff. Shh, don't tell anybody. If he attacks, I'm just letting him go by, and then we'll just try to throw some damage at the guy, get him up to 3, 4 versus his 4. So we're kind of even at this moment. But then I'll be able to throw. So the strength of this deck is that the creatures are essentially capable of causing removal. And unfortunately, we haven't drawn one of those at all. Not having removal sucks. Alright. Oh, my God. Okay. New plan. Throw the Forge and pray. Can't believe they gave him a cut down and a Raven Man. I mean, he's cast 2 rare cards and a premium removal spell. Like, what did you select? Jeez. Or how did you draw that? So this Furnace Strider, I should have gone in and gotten the free attack, but there's something about not necessarily utilizing the 4 damage and just focusing more on setting up for the Forge, right? The longer that the Furnace Strider is sitting there as a defender, the less damage I'm taking, the much more likely I am to do better. Now, this thing just doesn't have a hope of getting through, and so I don't see much reason necessarily to hold on to it. So I'm just going to do that, right? Now I've got a removal spell, and the removal spell says charge deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. So if that's a creature, that's a creature, that's a creature. If I go like this and use it to get rid of a creature, go. Right? Then we click next, and we could all attack, that's fine. It won't do anything here. He's just going to suck it up. And we'll get 1 damage across. But if I didn't do it, we wouldn't get the 1 damage. So, mad value. What can I say? Alright, so we've used some oil. The next creature that we cast can come in very hasty, and we're hoping that we can cast something that is pretty strong. He's gone through most of the strength of his deck already, and he doesn't have... What's he looking for again? It's equal to the number of land cards in your graveyard. You cast that at a weird time, and I get it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 5 total mana. It says it costs 8, but then 1 less for each domain that you carry. Aha. Well, aren't you a giant do-nothing? I'm okay with this. Oh, yes. Well, it says 3 mana or less, right? Okay. So, Annex Sentry comes in, takes out Llanowar Green Widow. I think. That's fine. Super. We have mana. Come at me, bro. Get your 4 damage in. I could have oiled that Annex Sentry up and gotten an extra piece of damage. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. It's fine. Here's the problem. The Forge is going to be up to 4 oil drops, which means that to block the Forge, he's going to sack a creature. So far, nothing that he's got does 5 damage unless he dual blocks. So the question is the dual block coming or not? And I think the answer is yes, and I'm okay with that, because it'll put us in a race, but I should be able to win that race. If he dual blocks, I'm taking out like his main threat that's coming after me. So he goes down to being able to do 1 damage. Choking Miasma. All creatures get -2. Okay. I wasn't planning on blocking this thing anyway. That's cute, though. So he's kind of thinking down there. When he enters the battlefield, you may return another permanent you control to the owner's hand, and if you do, you get to make a might. I could live without a land, right? Yeah. That's a lot of damage. So it's not exactly lethal. Well, it is lethal if he doesn't block. Oh, it's over. Good game. And that's why the Forge is nice. I never really used a Forge next to a Wellspring before. That was real nice. I was able to scry. Yay! Menacing 2/2 for 2. And, like, everything goes our way on this one. You can plus it up for an attack, stop the opponent from gaining any life. Let's go find out what we got. All right. A couple things that we liked about Vrand's Braids, right? That we wanted to add. We definitely wanted to add that 2-drop. We definitely were considering adding the dual striking Jawbone Duelist. We were considering adding the Incisor Glider. I don't know about a 1-drop, but they are so sacrificable that it's kind of worth it to a certain extent. And then I like the Ossification and the Norn's Wellspring addition to the puzzle. On the more upper end kinds of things, I just don't see anything jumping off the page. Oh, well, the Perish Blade Trainee, but that's... Shh. Shh. Take Up the Shield can be really good at creating kind of an indestructible lifelinker like trick. Annex Century is very, very good as a removal and a blocking body, which can be very, very good. I think I might like that more than the Edifice that's here. So we'll probably pop that in there and consider getting rid of the Edifice. These are less expendable. These are more like 3 flat Flensing Raptors is not bad. But these 3-drops are kind of more about controlling the board so that these can get up there bigger. If I start switching to like looking for attacks on my 3-drops, I'm kind of like spending all my stuff down here, and I'm not really making my way towards building this way. Whereas like if I'm clearing the board, if I'm triggering my stuff and putting 3/3 bodies on the board while I do it, the same kind of thing happens here, right? Clearing the board and putting a 3/3 body on there. I just, yeah, or not even putting a body, just getting a body back, so to speak. I just think that all of this is much better. Okay, Pilfer was a card that I just didn't really want in the deck in the first place. And the Dredging Claw has not proven to be incredibly good. I do think that the Vats of Rebirth are also very slow, and I don't think that we need them. And the Incisor Glider truly needs to be corrupted to be a payoff. That doesn't mean it's not a payoff, though. Would rather probably have an Incisor Glider than an Ambulatory Edifice. So I'm willing to remove that out of there. And this guy is better? I mean, a 3/1 that can't block. That comes in as a 4/2 on the way back. Yeah. No, you are better. Can live without that. Can live without that. We didn't really move this below the 2.5 line, and I don't like to get less than 24 lands until I get underneath that 2.5 line. So we're going to have to lose something good at this point. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, essentially like a draw from your graveyard. Target opponent may sacrifice a non-land, non-token permanent, and if they don't, they lose 2 life and you get to draw another card. I really love the card advantage in the middle of the game like this. You may sacrifice a creature, and if you do, each opponent discards a card. I mean, that's more of an ender game kind of thing, but I can skip that one if I want. Cards like this that only have utility at the graveyard don't pose as much of a positive gain as cards like this that have that graveyard utility and also these, reoccurrence +1s. Like can drag a card out of the graveyard if you want to kick it. Can also give you life, right, on the lifelink side of things. And a 2/3 body, I mean, is going to do a great job of blocking quite a bit. Ossification, Norms, Wellspring, Jawbone Duelist all have their own strengths. The Duelist may not work. We took out some of the equipment in this deck in order to give us some removal, some removal, some removal, some removal. And then we've got our card advantage over here. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep the Duelist. The reason I'm going to keep it is this right here. And gosh, I wish I had a second one of those. I mean, I could, right? I think this is uncommon. I only have 27 rare or wild card uncommons. But that's not the deck I'm trying to build. I think we're getting rid of this Invoke. It's just going to keep our mana curve down a little bit lower, and I like the consistency that a deck that's built like this with everything in the 2 and 3 and then just hammer, hammer, hammer above that line, but always have that capability of kind of coming back. Plus, we've really built a card draw mechanic into this, right? We're going to get a card. We're going to get a guy out of the back. We can get a guy out of the graveyard, which is like getting a card that we can cast. We are going to get a card. We're going to get a guy back, which is like getting a card and casting him. We're going to Every time these things die, this Wellspring keeps going. We're going to get a lot of cards out of the Wellspring. I'm pretty happy with how that deck looks. So happy that let's take it for a spin. In ranked. Alright, so normally I wouldn't just jump in, right? But we barely changed much in that, you know, kind of mechanism there. And so if we didn't change much, Dacian. Dacian is the name of a character in a book series that I read called, I should say, called The Lightbringer. And it's just such a trippy story. We don't have the white, but we have enough in black that, like, it's worth holding on to. We can only cast one of those. So our curve kind of looks like that for right now. I just made a cardinal sin. You should never, ever, ever keep a hand with 2 mana in it. Just because you can go a couple turns isn't always the best sign. Let's see what the bounce or removal or control that our mono blue deck wants to play. I would bet he bounces this or counters it. We didn't get the counter. Gonna dose it. Oh, we're looking. So I think we throw our braids out there. We're not really utilizing the... we're going in the wrong order to a certain extent. We kind of want our little guys out there first. I would much rather have the missionary out there, but that's not going to happen. I do like this, though. We can do this, and then we can attack, and we can give him Toxic 2, and that's kind of like hitting somebody for 4. The other aspect of it is if we can grab one more attack with it, we can actually end up getting the corrupted aspect of our Incisor Glider out on the field. Yeah. Interesting. I knew I was going to get bounced eventually. So, we are dealing with a control deck player who is really just drawing cards like crazy. Something tells me that they got a bomb that they're just searching for. And while we are mana locked, they have got all the time in the world to get that done. So, expect a counterspell here. Right? And that's fine, because the braids was not like a major part of our equation. What we're looking at is more in this line right here. Go away. Let's bounce his own guy. I don't think we win. I mean, we're just controlled, like 100%, and the fact that we made the risk of coming in here without the white, I just don't see this at this point. We can't even put up a blocker. Like, we're dead. Very frustrating game of Magic, but that's what happens. Sometimes you keep the wrong hand, and in this case, that's exactly what happened. There's no way around this. So I'm just going to do that. Because I can't cast anything. You know, by the time I do, it's going to get countered. So, that didn't work. That's okay. It's kind of on me. I'll take knowing where I made the mistake in order to improve. We do have 3 land. We got a Braids, and we did get a Drowning Ichor. Ooh, so slow. We have a 2-drop removal. That'd be cool if we don't need to use it. I could put the Wellspring out. Oh my gosh. We're going. I'm assuming whatever he's going to cast here is going to be typical 2-3, 1-4. Okay, so we could remove this, but I don't think it's the smartest use of our mana. Yeah, we're going to decline that. Jesus. Oh. Okay. There you go, buddy. The only reason I'm doing this is because of the Norm's Wellspring will be up to a point where I can draw a card off of it. I'm trying to get my Necrogen Titan out, and so maybe a Crawling Chorus would be good, or that'll work. It's not going to be enough to do it all on the next turn, but it'll work. If I can get 1 more mana, I can do another removal spell and an Undead Butler, and then a Ravenous Necrotype. And I'm probably doing that anyway. Oh, yeah. We're good. Goodbye. Hello. Okay. My man over here has been doing good things with his removal. So have we. Yeah. Don't kill my guy! I need a guy! Yeah. Okay. Put it on there. He only has 4 land. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so the reason I like that is because I needed the card in order to make the Titan work better. And I needed, I wanted to see if I could hamstring him on the mana side of things. I definitely like this as a guy to run in. And with a 2 mana cost, along with this 3 mana cost, and the Defiler is a total of 5, and I have 6. So I could do it all if I wanted to. Probably the right answer. Okay. I think you throw this out here because we want to get the extra damage, right? Then you throw this out here, you cast it this way, auto pay, it's just fine. Put it on the menacing guy, because he's a menace, right? And then the 6/6 comes in and destroys the 1/1. And then that creates a healing power of 2 and tosses that up for a -2. And then I can use the Norn's Wall. Dude, I'm just getting started! Oh, we were definitely in for a good run there. So, lots of triggers happening at the top end of our deck. This is, you know, a 5 mana character, a 4 mana character, a 4 mana character, and then we're utilizing these little peons, these little bodies, as 1 manas with their re-earth capability to make this little engine guy continually sort of peck, right? This would have definitely killed 2 of his creatures and then gotten killed, which would have then brought this back down. This would have probably just gotten chumped along the way, and that would have left opponent with nobody on the field, 4 total mana to use. Could drop 1 of them and have 3 mana to go get a card in hopes. We could have also used our final mana here with our Wellspring in order to draw a card. And so, turns out Norn's Wellspring, pretty useful. Allowed us to scry through. Just so happened that we had gotten good draws along the way, but we had a capability of making our draws even better, which is always nice. And overall, just a really solid game, right? Like, I can't imagine there's a lot that could have gone better for us there. We utilized our removal spells in the early side of the stage, and we got our like good spells, you know, removed, Vran and Braids, but because there are these mechanics built into this deck that help us bring things back out of the graveyard, the hero's downfalls didn't really sting along the way. And in one of the hero's downfalls, it triggered a Vran. So we got 2 life back for it, which is pretty much all you could ask for a 2-drop or even a 3-drop in there, like kind of thing. We got to use Braids in order to put some pressure on the mana side of things because we noticed that they were mana locked. There was just a lot in this game, in this match, that went our way, but it was about recognizing kind of what the circumstance was for this creature. Now, overall, this looks like one of the decks that you get in the jump-in packs on it. I don't think that like this Vampire Assassin is exceptionally good to a certain extent. I mean, for 4 mana, it's a 4/2, and then an opponent gets a -2/-2, but that would be great if you'd killed my guy, but you didn't. So, yeah, like I said, just pretty good. So we won 1 and we lost 1, and we'll do 1 more, and then we'll call it a day. Standard rank with our sacrifice deck. If this was a best of 3, this would be game 3 for all the marbles. Game 1 guy had a pretty good deck. I got our Wellspring, we got a Drowning Ichor, we've got our Razor Lash, which is a good 2-drop, and we have 3 colored mana. I'm keeping it. Snap keep. Let's see what they let us do. Love these. Okay, we're dead. If he's going to do a do nothing, I'll do a do nothing. That helps me draw cards. So, kind of a similar thing, except mine doesn't require as much mana as his does. Mine also gets started considerably later than his does. Oh no. Oh no. Alright, let's get you out there. Yup. This guy just doesn't block the might very well, so that's why I brought him out there. Okay, opponent only has 2 mana. Just pointing this out. We need to get a dead guy. Interesting. Okay. We'll do this. I don't want to proliferate yet. Yes, this is going to be tough. Yay! No! Can I still drown this thing? No. Good game. It's very difficult to beat something like that. Unless you've got your removal for your, what's it called? Artifacts. So we lost. Because we lost so fast, do another one. Why not? Holy land. But we have a 2-drop and we have a 3-drop. And we can make this work. It's kind of weird to want a 5-land hand right off the bat, but there's enough going on in this deck that, like, by the time I get to turn 4, I should still be alive. I shouldn't be dead already, unlike the last game that we were in. This is less cool, right? Like, this guy doesn't have the sexy Rexy skins that's on there. And there's just not nearly as much going on. Okay, no more land. No more land. No more. Just no more. Okay. Why? Oh, this is where I messed up. I should have been able to throw this shadow out there, which I don't think I would have traded, so kind of the same thing. I will take my Circuit Bender here, though. Mostly because he gets a card draw if... When he dies, I thought... Oh, when he leaves the battle... He's still on the battlefield! You see him right here! Wizards. Right on the battlefield. He's right there. Jesus. What just happened? Damn. Get out of here. I'm not overly concerned about the health situation that's on there, and I should be able to double cast on our next turn. The question is just, am I taking the Circumvender back? The Centipede... Okay. I'm less concerned about the Centipede, but because it would jump into that thing. I don't want to ossify it. Who cares? I'm getting removed. Because that's what we do around here. What a shocker. Swamps. Is there ever going to be a moment where I don't get removed? No? Go away. One. Oh! We remove and remove and remove and remove. I liked that move better just because if they get rid of my Annex Sentry, it's just not likely that they're going to get that token back, which is good. Oh, very interesting. Oh, of course. We're going to have to top deck another removal spell for Natsumi. What other removal spells could we get? Maybe... Dude. That was actually a bit of a mistake. kill it. Please, please, please kill it. There's a lot of removal, my friend. A lot of removal. Are you going to do the mysterious limousine again? You have one card. Like, what are you thinking about? I just want to remove that. So, this game's not over. If he has another removal spell, I'll be a little frustrated. But at this point, we've at least accomplished getting back to something of note. I'm definitely going to double block this in hopes of getting a kill on Mr. Twisted Embrace. For removal, he's probably got it. What land gives you 2 cards? Oh, yeah. You got this. So that's his thing. I want enchantments, and I want this. And that's gonna be it. We can't go through 52 removals. It just doesn't work. We can try, but we're not gonna get there. And then we're going to end the stream on a down note. Oh, that sucks. But Bran's Braids isn't really up to the challenge yet in the ranked category. I mean, we lost 3 out of 4 games that we played. So, give you an idea how bad that really is. Like, watch how fast we can get through a ranked game with our janky red deck. Just to show you, like, you know, is this really a strong deck or not? My general assumption is it's a 50% deck. Half the time it's going to do its thing and it's going to be great, and you're going to be able to like punch up quite a bit. The other half the time, not so much. Rabbit is almost definitely a mono red only player. We are slow on the board for mono red, but let's see what we can do. We're going to do just like that. And make him think that we're really pumping out the gruel here. Oh, no Phoenix Chick. That's a good sign. Alright, we will have 4 mana and 5 mana of cost. Not a warrior, just a wolf, so this isn't going to make a big difference except for blocking, which would be good. This is a really nice removal spell, and if this guy comes up with a 3 mana thing worth removing, which that means we're going to lose him. drawn 6 lands. Let's do it. It's just gotta be a basic one, huh? Yep, you can go out there. And I do like the idea of using a red pip to sacrifice some mana to draw a card on the next one, because we're at 7 lands drawn, which, in all fairness, only 6 natural. We can force the other. The Jewel Thief! 4/4 Jewel Thief is not good for us. Okay. So, what we do is we go all attack. And then we lightning strike the Jewel Thief after. And it doesn't really matter who they go after. I'd rather them get rid of the wolf, but even better. Come on, get your damage in. I lose a tap too. But I'm not attacking into that, so. I like this with a kicker. I think that you've got to get that going out of there. If he chooses not to, I'm just going to Yavimaya the guy. Go ahead. 3/3 shows up, we're going to use the Kuna. Unfortunately, we probably have to attach. I just don't think we're going to get enough damage in the kind of timeline that we need. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just don't have an answer for these larger threats. It had to happen on the earlier side of things, and going back and looking at that battle, I just couldn't come up with anything that did damage, like on the early side of stuff. So, okay. Anyway, that is going to call it as a wrap. Day 2, we accomplished some things. One of them was possibly improving Vran's braids just a little. It's hard to tell. Another one was doing a jump in pack or 2, which was good. And we got a chance to just build our deck out a little bit. I mean, I think that we ended up with a total of 4 different rare cards today. Our rare collection is looking better. We're starting to touch like single copies on a lot of the good ones that we were looking for. Steel Seraph, Invoke Justice, Norn's Wellspring, Kembra could be good later on. This Vran Executioner Thrain is very, very interesting, and it's got more to it that I'd love to get an opportunity to see. Otherwise, Runaway Growth, these, what alchemy cards are not likely to play out to be super, super good. And, they're just kind of there as fillers in the decks that they sort of give you along the line. So, I'm personally not jumping up and down yet. Exile a mono-colored permanent? Well, hello. You'd be fun. What does the Key to the City do? Discard a card. Up to 1 target creature can't be blocked this turn. Whenever it becomes untapped, you may pay 2, and if you do, you get to draw a card. So, 2 mana card cleaner with an untap built into it. Whoa. When Urza's Construction Drone enters the battlefield, conjure cards named Urza's Mine, Urza's Power Plant, Urza's Tower into your library, and then shuffle. When Urza's Construction Drone attacks or dies, seek an Urza's land card. Dang! Okay. Some fun ones over here. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of an equipped creature, except the token isn't legendary. That token gains haste. Huh. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of the equipped creature. Except that token isn't legendary. That token gains haste. So, what would you double for 5 mana? At the beginning of combat on your turn, plus X plus 1 counters where on another target creature you control where X is their power, that creature gains haste until the end of the turn. Very, very powerful. Very, very good. A second one of these would be very, very good. Cool. So, some things to think about. Not enough to say we got it, but we're acquiring. We're acquiring our ability to sort of build any kind of deck that we're looking for. I think that right now with 29 common and 27 uncommon, we could definitely put together a a red deck, right, that has all of your usual suspects, that isn't janky. So think, we'll go to not collected, and we'll just stay in the common, uncommon zone, and we'll just go with rare, and we'll stick it in the bottom zone here, right? So think Kamano faces would be 4 of our uncommons, and this one would be another 4 of our uncommons, and then Phoenix Chick would be another 4 of our uncommons, and then we would probably want to play with fires. I've been kind of happy with Rabbit Battery on the other account that I was goofing around with, so yeah, I don't think I need any of these. Braids would be phenomenal. I would love to do that. Commons, Voldarian Epicures would be great. Nothing wrong with these. Also common. So we would be using about half of our uncommons and about 4 or 5 of our commons. Everybody loves Batter Fists. I like these for ramping. I like these in general. They're good. I like these, but we're not looking to build that kind of deck. That's a great card. A common? Smashed to dust? I mean, everyone's playing End the Festivities, which is 1 mana. But how many times do I want to get rid of an artifact? And you could get rid of a creature with Defender, too. Would love to have an like a 2 mana artifact removal. Would be really, really useful in the red deck. Huh. Okay. Okay, so, you know, 1-drop city would open up. Things like this Ronin would go away. This would go away for sure. I think Goblin Picker would go away. And we do have 3 lightning strikes, which is nice. Probably these guys go too, to be honest with you. I think I'd get rid of these too. Okay, well, we'll consider it. We could make a red deck that is much more geared towards the, fast firing kinds of stuff, but we would basically be spending all of our uncommons to accomplish that. We've got 8, 16 that we would use right there. As far as this guy, maybe, although I'm not 100% certain that I like the idea. I don't hate it though. I don't hate it. Definitely would do the uncommons here, and I would definitely do the abrades. It's hard for me not to just take the abrades right now. Okay. We will exit this and call it a stream. Alright, day 3 coming up tomorrow. See you then.